Welcome to PrepsNet Coach Speak with John Carroll Catholic, head football coach. Will Mara, powered by CM Gridiron. Here's your host, Aubrey Johnson.
We're in the weight room of John Carroll Catholic High School. Welcome back, Coach.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Absolutely. So this game against Wenonah that you had last Friday is really a tale of two halves, isn't it, Coach?
Oh, absolutely. And it's almost, it came down into the fourth quarter. And Wenonah, a lot of credit to Wenonah. They played all four quarters. I feel like we managed the game for about 3 quarters of that. I mean, went into the fourth quarter 15-6. And
right.
Wenonah made some key plays, and credit to them for hanging around.
Well, good. So at least the first half or first 3 quarters, you guys were playing really well. Name some of the players that you noticed had a really good game.
Yeah, so defensively, our defense played absolutely amazing. And,
right.
I mean, I think they gave up 14 points the whole game, but
right.
6 points just even going into that fourth quarter.
Correct.
Nick Gagliano played huge up front. Jacob Childress, he's coming along. And just our secondary kind of kept everything intact. Offensively, Jalen Shepard, he made a huge play in the middle of the third quarter.
Right.
So we're seeing a lot of our kids that this is their first year and getting some of that experience stepping
sure.
up, but we just got to make sure that we get it all 4 quarters.
Right, exactly. So we have to remember these are teenagers.
Right.
So this is like really a tough loss for them, being flying high for 3 quarters and then it not making it all the way to the end. What do you say to those players in the locker room after the game?
So that's what this was definitely a tough one to come up with something for that, because
right.
they played hard for all 4 quarters. It was
right.
just a couple plays here or there, didn't bounce our way, and Wenonah made that play. So
sure.
That's what we've been looking for with our team, is to play 4 quarters, not to bat an eye, not to flinch. And I don't think we flinched at all. Just so, like I said, it ended up not bouncing our way. So
right.
that's tough. So trying to build them back up and let them know that's the kind of effort that we're looking for. That's for the most part, the execution we're looking for. But where do we find those 1% plays? Where do we win those? And we got to win them in practice. And so kind of putting an emphasis on that is that we've got to win them on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. You got to win them in the film room. You got to win them in the weight room. And even if you win 99% of the game, that 1% can come back and
it's just a handful of plays that can make a difference in the game, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So this year, or this week rather, how are you looking injury-wise?
Pretty good. Yeah. We came out healthy last Friday.
Good. So we're introducing a new segment here called Player Spotlight. We want to talk about a particular player that's done very well for you in the past and even this past week. And you mentioned his name, Nick Gagliano. Yep. He's a junior defensive lineman. Tell us more about him.
Yeah, so Nick, we say Player Spotlight. He's a kid that doesn't get a ton of spotlight, but he does a lot of hard work for us down there. He draws double teams, and he's been a 3-year starter. And he's a junior now. Big kid, always does everything right, works his tail off in practice, but you don't hear him getting a lot of tackles because he's eating up blocks.
He's eating up blocks.
He's eating them up and keeping guys off of our linebackers. And, you don't see many people run towards him because he kind of just stonewalls there.
Right.
So that's a kid that, he, like I said, he works hard in the weight room, works hard in film, works hard in practice.
Sure.
And it shows, but you don't hear his name much because people run away from him.
Absolutely. Nick, that one's for you. We'll be right back after this message to talk about this week's game.
Yes, sir.
PrepsNet Coach Speak is powered by CM Gridiron. CM Gridiron is your home of fan-focused Alabama high school football. From our weekly interactive Team of the Week and offensive and defensive fan-selected Player of the Week polls to the Alabama High School Stadium Tour, player profiles, Coach of the Week features, and live in-game scoreboards. CM Gridiron is the largest fan-driven digital platform in the state of Alabama. Your team, your voice, your vote, your game. CM Gridiron.
And we're back. Next up, Coach, you have the Briarwood Lions.
Yes, sir.
You guys are both 2-5, same records, except they've had 2 huge wins the last 2 weeks. The last one against Corner, who was undefeated at the time. So you got a tall assignment coming up this week. What do you expect to see from the Lions?
Well, they like to run the ball. They've got
Right.
their running back. They've got a strong and sound defense. They got two guys up front. I think one guy's committed to Notre Dame. Maybe he got another big guy sitting in the other gap. Try to keep everything in front and come up and make plays, and they do a pretty good job of that.
Right.
Offensively, they find ways to be able to run the ball and spread the ball around a little bit. That running back that they've got back he's an absolute stud.
Right.
And they've played really good football these last 2 weeks.
Right.
They beat two really good teams. They beat an undefeated Leeds team and an undefeated Corner team.
Right.
That were both, I think, in the top 10 rankings. So it's definitely a tall task. It's somewhat of an emotional game too, because this is a little bit of a rivalry.
A little bit.
Or at least what we would like to start to consider a rivalry.
Right.
I'm a believer that a rivalry's got to be able to go back and forth, and we hadn't been able to get Briarwood in a while. So there's a lot on the line for that.
Right. Well, it's interesting to note that you guys haven't met since 2019.
Yeah.
So you don't have those years to know how Coach Matt Forrester over there at Briarwood does things.
Right.
So you're really having to rely just on your film study, don't you?
Yep, absolutely.
So, Coach, the regular season's winding down. You've only got 3 games left along with a bye week. And that's it until the playoffs. So the question is, do you still have a shot to make the playoffs?
We need a little help out of those 3 games that we've got.
Right.
Only 2 of them are area. So we've got our week 9 is that area bye for us, where all the rest of the teams in our area will be playing. So
Right.
We definitely have to take care of business these next 2 weeks to have any inkling of a chance. But we need a little help from some other teams in the area as well. So, but I mean, we're telling our boys it's take it 1 week at a time, and we're not worried about getting in, not getting in. It's how can we continue to get better? How can we continue to grow and just put our best foot forward?
Right, for sure. So this game against Briarwood is really a crucial game because it's the next game,
Absolutely.
Right, Coach?
Yes.
All right. Well, that's our show. We appreciate your time, and we definitely appreciate you. Watch us again next week for another John Carroll version of Coach Speak.